Hello and welcome, everybody. My name is Todd Nielsen. I'm one of the organizers for the Catalyzing the Future event. And as part of that event, that's going to be on September the 30th, so just next Wednesday, we are excited to have an array of amazing, smart, insightful people who are going to be coming together for a series of 3 simultaneous streams of panels, discussions, insights, idea exchange. And we hope that you're able to join us for this free global virtual event. As a lead up to that event, we are having individual conversations with thought leaders across a variety of different industries. And today we're really excited to have with us Igor Mróz and Ciprian Moga, who are going to be talking a little bit about ZERO B.S. project management, and I'm sure a variety of other interesting topics. So without further ado, I'm going to step aside and bring them into the channel so that you can meet them both.
Hello, good evening. Thank you, Todd, for the warm introduction.
Good evening from Europe. Good afternoon to America, and perhaps good morning to Asia, who's watching us. Hello, Igor, and
hello, Ciprian.
Glad to having you again. Well, to a new Zero Bullshit conversation. Where this name come from? You have a company called Zero Bullshit Management.
Yeah, I've been doing project management for many years, and like a couple of years ago, I decided, it's a long story, so I'll make it short. I decided to start my own consulting business, and because I've been so fed up with lots of BS advice you can get all over the place. I mean, at the conferences, in the books, in articles, I decided to call it Zero B.S. Management.
And your focus is on project management, and you want to bring something new and very fashionable into project management called anti-fragility.
Anti-fragility, yeah. I'm actually very much also interested in anti-fragility. I even have a blog in Polish, antifragile.pl, that I launched many years ago, straight after reading for the first time Antifragile by Nassim Nicholas Taleb. So yeah, and my idea basically for this short today's conversation is just a short discussion with you about some psychological barriers against implementing anti-fragile lifestyle, anti-fragile management style, because in my opinion, it's very often easier said than done. One of the things that I personally call bullshit is those advices that they sound really nice in theory, they sound really nice when somebody on a stage gives you them, but then you try to implement them and you fail big time. Like if you want to get in shape, it's very easy. You have to do some more fitness and eat less. Yeah, but there are lots of, say, caveats, catches there, and the same goes with implementing anti-fragility. And we had our brief conversation yesterday when I mentioned that one of the most important things if you want to be anti-fragile is to take regularly some risk, right? To experiment. Taleb constantly says that if you are not experimenting, you are not actually using the whole pool of opportunity that it's over there, right? And guess what is the biggest barrier? Well, at least in my opinion, maybe you're going to differ, when people are trying to experiment.
Well, there is a scale. There is a scale of zero taking risk and taking all the possible risk.
Yeah, but what are people afraid of? Why they are actually not engaging into risk, into sufficient risk?
Well, I think they're answering corporation and maybe different answering entrepreneurial ventures. What do you think about it?
I think there is one very common factor. I think it's fear of failure.
That's a classic. It's an old feeling. It's a fear and fear of failure.
Classic and so banal and so cliche, but it's still there. I experienced it regularly. Many people experience it regularly, and I've heard actually a couple of years ago a very nice quote that if you are not failing regularly, it probably means that you are not risking enough. and then I started to think, and I said, yeah, actually, it's kind of impossible not to fail every now and then if you do sufficient risk. If you are not failing at all, well, either it means that you are delusioned, not taking any risks, or or a liar. Sometimes there are those people who say that they win every time, and I think they are either delusional or they are liars. And how to overcome it? What do you think?
Overcome it? I'm very tempted to test the boundaries. How much risk it's acceptable? It's very corporate. I will play the corporate devil right now. How much risk is affordable? I think fragile, which is very fashionable in the corporate world, by the way.
Yeah, but so how much risk exactly? If you have trouble, say, accepting failure, then my advice would be to start small. Take lots of small risks. That's actually what Taleb says. What people often do, they play safe for like 3 years, and then bam, out of blue, they try to invest half of their money into their new business. This is stupid. You should rather take some small risks every now and then. Plus, there is a very nice exercise. It's called fear setting. It's being promoted by Tim Ferriss. He's a pretty famous American blogger. And basically, you can Google it easily. But it says just sit down and actually think, what will actually happen if I fail? And once you do it, you'll actually, in the end, you will realize that it's not so bad. So that's the first barrier. The other, this is from my very personal experience, because I have to confess, I'm this guy who leans slightly toward OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, perfection. If I say start to do something, if I engage in some process, some ritual, some new idea, management model, I am very strict. I feel like a failure if I don't adhere to all the rules, to all the processes, to all the rituals. And people like me, and I keep meeting similar people in managerial positions, I think we are very often afraid of being when it comes to experimentation, we are afraid of being overwhelmed with, say, new things that we'll have to do. We already have a huge pool of things that we need to attend in our daily life, and then let's experiment, which would probably experimentation very often means like new team meeting 1 hour a week, new teleconference every day for 15 minutes, or half an hour for meditation, or 1 hour for this, or 1 hour for that, and before you know it, you are overwhelmed with all those things and stressed to the max. Been there, done that. And if I were to give advice from my personal experience, is either in my personal life, I do it by myself, of course, but in business, I do it with my team at least once a quarter, a meeting where we list all the initiatives, all the processes, all the rituals, basically all the things that we are engaged into right now, and we try to cut the bottom 20%.
20%. I resonate with some writing from the 80s about taking 80%. So
yeah,
it's an old wisdom. It's Jack Welch says something about it. It was also about personnel, not only about that. But it's a very, 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 very classical, good old wisdom. This one.
Yeah. Once you do some reading, like Jack Welch, maybe even Peter Drucker or other people, and then you read those new thought leaders, very often you try to realize that it's basically very often underneath there are similar ideas, maybe phrased differently, maybe solved differently, but very often there is something underneath. And what people achieve by cutting off those 20% is basically, they feel less overwhelmed. And the second thing, they have actually the space for those new things, for experimentation. they can do it during their working hours, not like 7 or 8 p.m. On Friday, which is a nightmare. And I've heard actually a very good other quote, like that the companies are not engaging into great projects and great business opportunities because they are overwhelmed. They are busy with the good ones. So every now and then, it's actually good to get rid of those good enough things to make space for something new. And the third one that I wanted to share today during this brief conversation is it also comes from it actually comes from my experience. It comes from my experience also, but comes specifically from the experience of leading small workshops on anti-fragility, because very often people, when I've been explaining to them the whole idea, they kept nodding and they said, yeah, this experimentation, this really resonates with me. But this is the stuff for the CEOs. What can we do to experiment? Nothing. The CEO has to decide that we should maybe open a new product line or a branch in a new country or whatever. But I find that this is actually very often a bullshit excuse. Because from my experience, each and every Jane or Joe can engage into very simple experiment, even daily. And I'm giving this example of that's my favorite example, networking. Taleb in the book Anti-Fragile says that whenever you have in the evening, you have the opportunity to either read a book or go to a party where you could meet somebody new, go to a party. And if you sometimes you have to force yourself, I admit, but if you force yourself into meeting somebody new by, I don't know, joining some community, joining some event, going to some new place, if you're gonna meet a new person only once a month, it doesn't have to be like 50 people a week, then after like a couple of years, you'll have a very, very nice new network of people, possibly outside of your company, but also within your company. And this is, I think, also from my personal experience, the most robust, the most anti-fragile thing that you can actually build that will support you for the rest of your life. If you're gonna lose your job, if you're gonna be in trouble, if you're gonna need an access to some doctor advice, very often the bigger your network is, the more access to those things. I mean, there's some new job opportunity, new business opportunity, contact to some important person, the more easy it's gonna get. And of course, this is risking, because you can go to a party, you can go to every event and meet nobody and be bored to your death. But this is simple risk taking every day, so everyone can take those risks. I hope I kind of inspired you.
Yes, and we have some time left. I'm always amazed when talking with you, Igor, because you can have a speed of sending real life's wisdom from practice. That's amazing. Maybe one more for the road.
No. I think enough. Oh,
you want to stop? It's a good wisdom too.
To be perfectly honest, I have more that I want to share during my micro workshop.
Absolutely, you will be panelist and you will have a micro workshop. Anything about it? Can you disclose something?
that should probably be available sometime around mid next week. I mean, on a website, and we also have the event next week. So by this time, I will describe everything. I would like to work with people in like smaller groups, engage into honest discussions about those barriers, those three, but also many others, and collectively together try to invent things that would work for the people in order to overcome those barriers, to actually implement anti-fragile ideas into their life, because many of those ideas that you're gonna hear during the conversation, like protecting yourself against gray rhinos and many other ideas. This is very good. This is very nice. But once you try to implement them, you will face trouble, and very often this trouble will come from your own brain.
Yes. Biases. Okay, so we look forward to having you in a panel. I think you've been a panel of business and leadership, I think, or agile leadership, right?
There have been some changes because I have a crazy schedule here that day. So I'll just refer our audience to the schedule that's on the website. You can find me easily. Igor Mróz, Igor Mróz.
And don't forget ZERO B.S. That's unforgettable.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Igor. Pleasure to having you. Looking forward to the conference. To everybody, please register. It's a free conference. You just need to register, and you receive by mail the credential at the right time and right hour. Thank you, everybody, for having us.
Thank you.
From Bucharest and from
Krakow.
From Krakow, Eastern Europe. Good evening.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, and thank you, everybody. And as Ciprian said, just don't forget to go to catalyzingthefuture.com to sign up for the event. And we hope to see you next Wednesday there. We'll make sure that you get all the information you need. Have a wonderful day.